All right, well, welcome Rock Solid Fitness clients to the Medicorp Maps program. I'm gonna be showing you how we use it and all the little ins and outs of it that will make your journaling process successful. This program pairs with the journal that you actually can get from us here at Rock Solid Fitness, the 8 or the 12-week one. They both work hand in hand with the Medicorp Map program. The program is set up so that you can create menus and then eventually prepare what you've already planned out. So I've got my account open right here. I've got a few menus that I've created in the past or just recently, and I'm going to show you how to kind of just start from scratch and how to add foods, take away foods, incorporate different things from the exchange group lists that are already built into the database, as well as show you eventually how to add your own user foods, even though we try to stay away from that as much as we can. So why we're using the Medicorp Maps program is because we want to ensure your success with your health and fitness workouts and everything that you're doing here at Rock Solid Fitness, but also outside of here for activity on your own. We know that you can't out-train a poor diet, and most results often come from mostly diet or focus on nutrition, I should say, and a little bit of the activity or the effort on the activity side. So a lot of people try to flip the script and do more activity across the week and little to no focus on their nutrition. So the purpose of this program is to educate you, number one, on all the good food choices that are available and still allow you to see how you can eat the things you love, as long as you're planning them properly into the recommended amounts of calories for your organism and the recommended amounts of macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats, based on what your goal is, based on what your current activity level is, and based on your actual in-body that you have done here at Rock Solid Fitness. So the screen here that I'm at is my profile. I'm gonna go towards a blank menu right now that starts from scratch and show you how you would start to create something like you see here. This is a full one that I've already built. And just to kind of break down what it is, at the top you have your optimal amount of calories. Mine's around 2,400 calories. And then you have currently what's actually on the menu underneath that in black here also. So you can see I'm a little over the optimal amount, but it's still fairly balanced because it's all black. Off to the right, you've got optimal amount of protein. We recommend 22 to 30% of your caloric intake from protein. And then you got in the middle, optimal amounts of carbohydrate. Believe it or not, carbs you need to have, and carbs are not bad. So it's the amount of carbs and what kind of carbs really that make up that whole myth of carbs being bad and why people tend to shy away from incorporating carbs in their eating. So this program is going to show you that you can still have all those things you love as long as you're balancing the numbers properly. It does all that work for you. All you do is plug and play with what you want to eat or what you want to plan to eat. And then off to the far right, you've got optimal percentages of healthy fats, 12 to 20% on mine, as you can see here. And then underneath you got currently what's on the menu in protein, carbs, and fats as well. So you can see at the top, everything's balanced in black here. That's what you want to try to get towards when you're making a menu for yourself. If it's in red, it's going to be in red because it's unbalanced and you got to find ways to either add more calories or add more of a macronutrient given what section is red. So this menu I created, even though it's a little overboard with the calories this day, it's fairly balanced as far as macronutrients goes. This would probably be a good day if I was doing heavy activity on this day or strength training. To have a little bit more caloric intake on this day would be okay. On a regular day where I'm not exercising or I'm not as active, you might want to have realistically closer to that 2,400 or whatever your optimal amount is. So this is one that I've created for one of our in-body challenges. This Dropbox shows you all the menus that are currently in your Medicorp Map account. I'm going to start one from scratch. So what I'm going to do is clear out this menu. So at the bottom, you've got another little Dropbox that allows you to either rename, copy, delete current menu, or delete all foods from this menu. I'm gonna just delete all the foods from this menu so that I can start it from scratch. All right, and now as you can see, everything's reset to 0 and it's red. I still have my recommended or optimal amounts of calories I want to target, and my optimal amount of percentages for each macronutrient that I want to try to balance. So when you hear that keyword, a balanced diet, that's what this is talking about. You want to balance the macronutrients in your eating and really try to hit your calorie target each day. Now each day is going to be different. You're not going to be able to hit exactly 2,431 calories like mine shows here. But if you get close to that, usually within 100, maybe even 200 calories, you're going to really see some good success. So we're going to do everything we can to try to make the menu and everything we plug into this menu, try to get towards that number. So how we add a food. What you're going to do is first think of your day. Think of what I like to do is think of the order that I eat each day. Breakfast, obviously, maybe a snack, and then lunch, and then after lunch, maybe a late afternoon or a pick-me-up snack, and then maybe dinner as the last meal. I eat about 5 to 6 times a day, so then I'm actually going to eat something else after dinner before bed for more protein consumption. But think of your typical day. So let's start with breakfast, and let's say you want to add something into your breakfast menu. So what you're going to do, you've got some tiles here: substitute, add food, delete food, user foods, and then grocery list. We're going to use the one that says add foods first because we need to add something to this menu. Then you get brought to the next page. It gives you a choice to choose from the exchange list, which is the actual database of foods that are already programmed into this, or use new user food if you absolutely have to input something that is very specific, or maybe it's just a guilty pleasure you want to add into your menu. The exchange list works hand in hand with the journal. At the back of this journal, you have, I like to think of it as an index, or like a back of the book glossary of all your food groups here. You've got everything from fruits to carbs to proteins. Everything you can possibly think of as a food item is in this book. At least the generic version of it is. It's not brand specific, so if you want to get brand specific with things, you gotta maybe search harder for that, or actually input it as a user food item. But for the most part, everything food-wise is in here. So let's think of a typical breakfast that you might have, and that would be your first food item. For me, I might want to think of protein first because I'm strength training, and I want to make sure that my protein intake is high for the day. So I'm going to go to the section in the book, or the exchange list I should say, that says protein. It's probably at the very back, of course. Yep, it's group V. I don't know if you can see that on the book, but group V is going to be the exchange group that goes hand in hand with the Medicorp Map drop down box that you see here. So I click the drop down box. I'm going to go to group V for protein, and now you see a number here also. This is meal 1. I'm thinking of my very first thing that I'm eating on this given day. So meal 1, I'm going to add something that's protein based. And typically for protein at breakfast, you think of whatever you might like. If you like eggs are going to be in here probably. If you want bacon, that's the first option that popped up. You see that that's here too. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to try to find eggs, just because that's a typical thing that I would eat. And then you go right here, you got all kinds of eggs that you can choose from. Poached eggs, omelet eggs, egg whites, jumbo, large, extra large eggs. So whatever kind of eggs you buy, they're pretty much in here. I'm just gonna go with the large ones just for example. Now, once you selected that, it gives you the substitution or the serving size underneath that. So this is 0.5. This is half of a serving of large eggs. Obviously, no one eats half of an egg, so I'm gonna put it to 1 to make it 1 whole egg, in which that gives me 70 calories, 6 grams of protein, 0 grams of carbs, and then 5 grams of fat. I typically will eat 2 of these sometimes 3, but I'm just gonna add 2. So I've increased the substitution or the serving size to 2 here. And now you can see the overall calorie intake that I'm gonna be having just from those eggs. So I'm gonna add that first. And that's now on my menu. I've got 140 calories used up, and I've got roughly 2,200 or so to go. All right, next, you'll add another food item, whatever it is that you like. Think of what you might have with those eggs. Include all your toppings, include all your condiments if you like that kind of thing, and incorporate that too, because that's huge. Especially things that you cook with that often get forgotten also. So olive oil, if you use olive oil, all of it counts towards your daily calories. So everything that you're consuming or putting into your mouth, you wanna make sure you're putting it on your menu. So I'm gonna add, let's say, toast. Toast is something pretty simple and what most people would have with their breakfast, I would assume. So toast would be under the exchange group carbohydrates, which again often get the bad rep, but again, as long as you're balancing the numbers right for your recommended amounts, you can have bread. You can actually eat bread and pasta and all that stuff. Of course, make a good choice when it comes to your bread. You know, there's all kinds out there, but you know, the whole grain options are probably better. They got more fiber probably, so think of those things too. But as long as your calories aren't going over, you're gonna be fine if you're trying to lose spotty fat or if you're trying to increase muscle, whatever your goal is. So bread is in here under carbohydrates group 4. So I'm selecting group 4 carbohydrates, and then I'm able to now scroll down. It's in alphabetical order, so you're gonna wanna scroll down a bit. Bread, and let's say Dave's Killer Bread. This is a pretty popular brand right now. 21 whole grains. I'm gonna select that. And then you wanna, of course, think of your serving size. If you're having 1 or 2 slices, I'm gonna go ahead and assume I'm gonna eat 2 slices. So this is my calories again here, and all the macronutrients that I can expect to get from that actual bread. So I'm adding that as well. Again, to meal 1. So now I've consumed 360 calories of my 2,400 allotted. All right, next, let's see. Maybe you wanna have avocado on your bread. So I'm gonna, that's something that's pretty good. Or of course, if you want jelly or jam, that's fine too. That's all in here. I'm gonna go to the fruit section just because that's where you're gonna find avocado, believe it or not. That is group 3 in the exchange. So I'm gonna add food, group 3. And then here we go, here's avocado. And you can see down here, it's got it by weight. Each food item sometimes is either by weight or it can be actually by serving size. Like the bread was by serving, 1 slice or 2 slices. The avocado, you'd actually have to measure it based on what you plan to eat. So let's say I increase it to, I like a lot of avocado, so I'm gonna go up to 2 ounces. And you would have to cut that out obviously and weigh it on your scales that you have at home so that you can get as close to these calories and macronutrients as possible. Weighing and measuring is part of all this as well. All right, so I got the avocado in there. And then one more thing perhaps for breakfast. Let's see, what would go good with that? Maybe a bowl of fruit. So, again, add food, exchange group. Fruits is group 3. And there is a fruit salad option in here. It's also got individual fruits if you want to cut up a bunch of different fruits and think of that. I know from doing this before, there's different fruits, pretty much all that you can think of. Like everything you can think of is in here, even mixed fruits. I'm gonna go with, fruit salad. So let's say you make a mixture of fruits, chop up 3 different ones, random fruits. fruit salad, or maybe you buy it as a fruit salad. I'm gonna have that in here with breakfast. Substitution, you wanna increase this based on the serving size you want. I'm not gonna have a quarter cup. I would probably eat an actual whole cup. So I wanna increase the substitution number so that I get right here 1 cup of this fruit salad. Of course, if you wanted to actually have a half, you can make it a half too by bringing this down. So there's that. That's how you're adding foods to this menu. And the goal is to get up to your caloric number, get these numbers that are red in balance with the black. So you can see now my carbohydrates are right where they need to be right now. We're doing good with carbs, but we still need to find more protein across the day and watch out for our fats. They're a little high because of the eggs and the avocado. So you'll go about adding foods to this menu by, again, thinking of each meal and thinking of what you like and thinking about what you would typically eat, and go based on the exchange group to add it into your menu. The end goal being trying to target these ranges up top. If you can get those in black, again, not in red, but in black, you're in a good spot to set yourself up for success when it comes to your health and fitness goals. As long as you're actually doing the weighing and the measuring and actually buying these groceries and preparing the way that you planned or intended to. All right, the next thing, how you would delete a food item. Let's say I like this breakfast for the next day, but I want to not have avocado on my toast. I want to have jam. You would highlight or select it and then hit delete. Delete one more time, and now that takes that away from the menu. And it obviously changes up the numbers. And then you can incorporate or add, jam or jelly if you prefer, to that toast instead. All right. I'm gonna show you again another menu that I've made so that you can kind of see again one more time what the end goal is. This is the menu here that I've made for this particular day. This is called Later Shift. You can name your menus however you want based on your own uniqueness. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again 6 different things across the day that are 6 times that I'm eating based on this day to get to my caloric goal, my protein goal, carbohydrate goal, and my fats goal. You can see everything's black, so we're balanced out good. This is a good menu right here for me. And I've got all the things that I would typically eat or want to eat built into this across 6 times across the day. So breakfast, I got meal 2 or lunch here. Meal 3 would be dinner. And then 4, 5, and 6 are snacks for this day for me. So I've got like an apple, a brownie, Cliff Bar, and some oranges. So again, think of your typical day and what you would want. Now let's say the cool thing about the exchange lists is that you can substitute food items in for things that are similar or give you similar caloric value or nutritional value. So I'm gonna use this menu here for an example. How to substitute foods. You wanna look at the same exchange group that you're substituting for. So this one, for example, is Halo oranges, or those little cutie oranges. And it's a fruit, right? So I wanna exchange this for something that would be a fruit. Fruits, again, are exchange group 3. So I'm gonna highlight that, and then down here, we're gonna hit substitute. And you can see when I did that, it already brought up the exchange group fruits because it recognizes, again, this goes hand in hand with the journal and the Medicorp Map program. So it goes hand in hand with each other. It recognizes already that I'm substituting out a fruit for possibly another fruit, or that's the goal. You want to substitute a fruit out for a fruit. That way your days can be different, or you don't get bored and you're always eating the same thing. You can change it out and still get your menus to balance out calorie-wise. So I'm gonna use the group fruit again, and instead of the oranges, let's say this day I want peaches. And peaches are here as a whole fruit, you got peaches in a can that are canned. I'm gonna go with a whole peach just by itself. One medium peach. And that's going to be my substitution for the oranges that day. Depending on, you know, the type of peach you get, the size, or how many you actually like to eat, you can substitute for as many servings as you want. But ideally, you want it to match the same amount of calories and carbs, protein, and fats as the oranges had. So the exchange group allows you to kind of seamlessly substitute that. So I'm going to substitute one medium peach, and it's lesser in caloric value, but nutritionally it's probably still the same. I'm going to add it back into my menu. And as you can see now, my menu at the top is still fairly balanced. No red. Even though I took out the oranges, I substituted in a peach for this day using the exchange group in the way that the Medicorp Maps program is designed to work. So the more you can swap out a like item for a like item, the more successful you're going to be with you know, eating things that you like, still enjoying the things you want to have, and not feeling like you're on a diet. As long as this is the planning portion, if you can plan what you want to eat and make it fit your daily consumption goal, you'll be able to still enjoy those things. All right, that's how you substitute. Now, what you'll want to do, if you want to incorporate something that is not in the database, this is not recommended, but it does give us an option to add a new user food item. Let's say you're very specific like me and you want to have a chocolate brownie Cliff Bar every day. That's not in the database, but it's something that will help fill my calories, the recommended amount of calories I need up, and increase my carbohydrates and proteins up, and still help me allow me to feel like I'm eating what I want and still not too strict with myself. So I'm gonna go back to this menu I had. You're gonna go to add food, and then instead of from the exchange list, now I'm going to new user food. Now to incorporate or input a new user food, you gotta have the food label from that packaging of that food item. So like, let's say you purchased it, you gotta have the food label that's on the back of the package so that you can input the amount of calories that are in that food item and still have all the macronutrients that you need to know also. So I'm gonna add this food item to the next meal, second one. And you wanna know like what kind of food item it is based on what it is. So like if it's an actual fruit, obviously you'd put it in a fruit group, or if it's something like a granola bar that's very unique or brand specific that's not in the database already, you'd probably put it in carbohydrates. If it's a protein snack, it's got more protein than anything, you'd put it in the protein section. If it's a supplement, like a specific supplement that's not already in the database, you would put it in the supplement category. But for this purpose, just to show you, I'm gonna put it in carbs. Again, this is a Cliff Bar. It's a new flavor that I like that they just came out with, called Caramel Macchiato. And it's kind of like my favorite Starbucks coffee. And because I've enjoyed it so much, I by heart know the whole nutritional value of it. It's 250 calories, it's 9 grams of protein, 44 grams of carbs, and then fats 5 grams. You again would need to know the nutritional content of that food item, but again, I know it by heart. So you would plug it in down here, and that's how you're putting in this new user food item. And then you would add it to your menu. And now it's in there, it's counted towards my numbers here, and I still get to enjoy it. You can see off to the right, it says user item here, or user exchange. And then I've got all of the others that are pretty standard from the system. Exchange groups 2, 3, 4, etc. So that's how you would add food items, take away food items, or substitute food items that are in the database to build up your menu. That's the goal of the program, is to build menus or plan menus so that you can have them. And then the next phase would be obviously buying those food items, grocery shopping, which I'm going to show you next. The other cool thing about this program is it gives you a grocery list already based on what menus you've created. So the one that we created today, that's pretty much the grocery list right here for that one menu. You can check off any of the other menus that you've built. Let's say you built quite a bit of menus like I have. You'll select the ones you want to actually follow or begin to follow, and then you're going to refresh. And now it's expanded the grocery list a little bit. So you can actually print this or look at it on your phone. When you go to the store, it even puts it in its own food category, so it makes it easy when you're walking around the grocery store. You got your veggies here, your fruits here, carbs, proteins, condiments, so you know what aisles you need to hit that day. So that's the other cool thing about this program. That's how you would input a user food item, and then from there continue to build onto your menu. So I'm going to bring you back to where we were at. This obviously is an incomplete menu, but you were able to see what a full one would look like. I'm not going to go through finishing this one, but the goal again would be to finish out your meals for that day so that your numbers calorie-wise are balanced or within 100 to 200 calories. Your protein, carbs, and your fats are all in the black, and you're good to go. A lot of people are going to ask, how do I know these numbers, or how do I know how many calories I need, how much protein I need? We take care of that. The menu planning software is set up and customized for you based on your latest in-body reading. So when we do your in-body here, we're able to plug in your own basal metabolic rate, which the system actually follows. We're able to input what your goals are, fat loss, muscle gain, or weight maintenance, and then also your activity level based on your current state of activity that you've told us or that you are starting to begin. We're able to use those factors to determine, or the computer, the Medicorp Map program is able to determine your optimal range of calories, protein, carbs, and fats for you so you can have success. You're able to make as many menus as possible, as many as you'd like, and the more you make the menus and follow them with your journal, you'll have more success. So the journal, the way the journal works is once you've planned it on the computer, you've bought the groceries and you've made and prepared the food, hopefully ahead of time so that you can have better success. You're now going to be writing in what you're eating across the day. Meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes up to 6 different times of eating across the day. In the big box, you're putting what you actually consume. In the far right columns, you're putting in the amount of calories, protein, carbs, and fats. Basically, you're writing exactly what's on your menu on Medicorp Maps, as long as you're actually following it. That's why the journal is huge, because the journal is going to ensure that you're following that. So the two work hand in hand to help you ensure success. And as long as you're doing that, you will have success over time, as long as you're consistent in giving it your best with it. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that that was helpful for anyone that's looking to begin the InBody Challenge or just get on the Medicorp Map Nutrition Program. It's a great educational program. Number one, it's not going to tell you what to eat because you get to choose what you want to eat, and it's going to teach you how to eat. So that's the biggest thing. If it's educational, it's going to allow you to see that you can still have all the things you want, including alcoholic beverages or desserts, as long as it fits your specific calorie recommendation and everything else that follows.